What is up, YouTube? C here, and well, once again, I'm back with another UFC picks video. This time for UFC Australia, Jack Della Maddalena versus Prates. I was gonna abbreviate their names, but well, I mean, one of these guys can't be abbreviated. And, honestly, this card, let me start this off by saying this card is actually kind of solid. It's got like the the top four fights on this card have guys that you will definitely know, and on the undercard, there are some guys you'll know too. You'll definitely know. This card, it ain't that bad. It ain't as bad as last week's card, which, well, was pure Apex Goy slop. But I mean, let's just get on to the video. Let me stop yapping. So for the first fight, we got Cody Steele versus Don Marfan. Now Cody, he has had a year layoff, so it's been a minute. He's got good boxing. And while he does have 4 KO finishes, he does also have the grappling, so he's not completely one-dimensional. Now, for Dom Marfan, excuse me, he won his UFC debut. He's got decent striking, and his grappling, it's solid. It's there, but it's solid. Now, as for the winner, I do think Cody is gonna win this because both these guys are actually somewhat similar, but I will say I think Cody is a better all around fighter, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dom puts up a fight and wins this. But I honestly can see this going either way. But in the end, I do have Cody winning via split decision. Alright, for the next fight, we got Jonathan Mukaleef versus Themba Gorimbo. Now, Jonathan, he's on a 3-fight winning streak. He's got good grappling. His grappling is actually pretty solid. Now, striking, it's alright. It's there, but sometimes it's not. It really just depends on the matchup. Now, Themba Gorimbo, I don't know if I'm confusing him with another guy, but I'm pretty sure he's known for the Rock, like giving him a house or some shit. But anyways, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. His striking is meh. His grappling is good. So both these guys are somewhat comparable. But I do have Jonathan winning this, and the reason why is because look, he's on the come up, and Themba, he's on a somewhat downturn in his career, and I could see Jonathan using the striking to set up his grappling to try and get a sub. But with Themba having actually some pretty decent to solid grappling, I mean, I'd say it'd be pretty hard to get the submission. But I wouldn't be surprised. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a decision win for Jonathan. So I do have Jonathan winning this by split decision, which I don't think is outlandish. It's not ridiculous. Not ridiculous to say that. But now for the next fight, we got Wes Schultz versus Ben Johnston. Now Ben Schultz, he's got good wrestling and a good all-around grappling. Now his striking looks questionable. He got dropped twice, and then finished in his UFC debut. So he might be a little bit chinny. Now Ben Johnston, he has a 100% finish rate. Good grappling, really good grappling, and he seems to really love the rear naked choke for some reason, which from what I've actually looked at, a lot of these guys in the regional scene really love their RNCs, and I guess it does make sense because it is pretty. It's probably the most common submission you learn. And I mean, if you got good wrestling, I mean, just take your opponent down to the mat, double leg him, single leg him. Maybe you can use a high crotch if you're feeling fancy, get him down to the mat, take his back, ink that confusion, and then boom, lock him through a good choke. I guess it makes sense, but yeah, and the striking, it looks alright if I'm being honest. But I do have Wes winning this because despite his KO loss to Mr. Eggplant, and the reason why I wrote Mr. Eggplant is because I'm not trying to say his name. Damien P. on that Mexico card, bro. Man, that's unfortunate. He's from somewhere else. It's like South America, so I guess the jokes weren't as common. But I do believe that Wes all-around grappling is more varied, and it looks better than Ben's. Which, will it age well later? Maybe, maybe not. There's a good chance it'll age poorly. But that's, I guess, for us to figure out, on this fight. I'm not sure about this pick. I'm very unconfident in this pick, if I'm being honest. but I do have West winning this via UD. And like I said, I'm not confident at all in this pick, so let it ride. But for the next fight, we got Colby Thickness and Vince Morales. Now Colby, he's pretty. I know some of y'all know about Colby Thickness. Some of y'all know about him. He debuted against Alexandre Topuria, and I think by that last name, y'all don't need me to tell you who his brother is, Ilia Topuria. Literally his training partner, bro. This dude literally stopped fighting for, I think, at least, I'm pretty sure at least 4 years to be Ilia's training partner, and then he came back. So, losing against to a guy who became 2-division champ and is slowly creeping up to the all-time talks, I mean, that's not a bad loss, man. And he did look good in that fight. But I mean, Colby, he is just alright everywhere. He's got alright grappling, alright striking. He's looking like a Mozart Vloyev, if I'm being honest. He doesn't have that finishing heart. I believe he does train at Volk's camp. Not at CKB. Volk isn't like a full-time member there, but he does train alongside Volk. I forgot what it was called though. But Vince Morales, I'll be honest, this is more of a tune-up fight for Colby. Colby's is literally getting fed a journeyman. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, and he's just mediocre everywhere. Vince is, he's not good, if I'm being honest. He's just like just all right. And yeah, I just have Colby winning this. I literally didn't even write up how he could win this or why. I just think Colby's just better. He's younger. This dude Vince Morales, he's literally on his way out. So I mean, yeah, I'd say Colby does win this via UD. If he gets a finish, good for him, but judging by Colby's past performances, I do think that it's going to be a little more challenging for him. Now for the next fight, we got Jacob Malkoun versus Gerald Meerschaert. Now Jacob Malkoun, UFC journeyman. He beat the GOAT Torres Vinny, however, but he's alright everywhere. Gerald Meerschaert, UFC journeyman, but he's goated. So there's a clear difference there. He's the only man to never get taken down by Khamzat Chimaev, y'all. You hear that? Khamzat Chimaev did not take down GM3, the GOAT, okay? Just ignore what happened later in that fight. Now, Gerald, he is on a 4-fight losing streak, and 3 of those losses did come by finish. He's got this dude actually is a good grappler. He is really good grappler. He's a good grappler, man. That's all I can say about him. He's a good grappler. But in his recent fights, he has gotten, in his 4-fight losing streak, he got submitted by RDR and Kaldakis. So whether that grappling is going on a downturn, I mean, RDR, he does have some slick grappling. Kaldakis, I honestly don't know much about him, so who knows? Maybe Kaldakis is secretly goated. But Gerald's striking, it is meh. It's pretty meh. And yeah, I do have Jacob winning this because look, he may be alright everywhere. I mean, just alright, decent, skill-wise everywhere. But when you are fighting a guy on a 4-fight losing streak, you start looking like a prime GSP. I mean, unless Jacob Malkoun just fucks up and gives Gerald his win, then I got this pick wrong. But I do have Jacob winning via UD. I mean, would I be surprised if GM3 wins the GOAT? Nah, not really. But I do think Jacob's overall younger age fighting wise is gonna help him out here. Now, I'm sorry, man. I wonder why his brother's not fighting on the card. But anyways, we got Junior Tafa and Kevin Christian. Now, Junior, he only got into the UFC due to his brother. To be honest, it's like pure nepotism. His striking is the only somewhat good thing about his game. What do y'all want me to say about his grappling? His grappling is like y'all ever watch like a JV wrestling? If you ever do wrestling, watch a JV match. It's somehow worse than that. Just try and just imagine a JV wrestler wrestling, but way worse. And Kevin Christian, I mean, his striking is meh, his grappling is meh, and yeah, I do have Kevin winning this, but this is just basically like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I gotta choose someone to win this. I mean, could this end into a draw where both fighters get cut? Maybe, but this is genuinely the fight of all time. Just if you ever have trouble sleeping, maybe watch this fight. Who knows? Hopefully, it ends in the first round. If it doesn't, well, yeah, it's just not the UFC standard that this generally deserves to be in the Apex. Put this shit in the Apex, and most fans would be happy. But yeah, Kevin wins some way. I wrote it right here. Some way he wins. He wins some way. I didn't even pick a way, bro. I was trying to study both their games. I was like, man, these guys are both kind of ass. So, next fight, we got Cam Ralston and Robert Brejcik. And Cam, he's look, this dude, he came from the Contender Series, and I swear this dude debuted about like a week or two after his Contender Series fight, I'm pretty sure, if memory serves me right. He actually did a little over a month, but I mean, still, debuting a little over a month after a Contender Series and winning is actually pretty chill. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, all of them being by KO TKO finishes. I'm including his Contender Series fight because, hey, you got into the UFC through there. Might as well give you that. His grappling is actually pretty decent. It's quite good. He seems to like the RNC, which is a common theme. And he's obviously got great striking. I mean, if you're getting KO TKO finishes, you've got to have some great striking. Now, Robert, his striking is alright. It's there. It's there, you know. And his grappling, it's questionable. It's got a lot more questions to ask about it. And yeah, I do have Cam winning this. I just think Cam is a better all-around fighter compared to Robert. And the way I see Cam winning this is I could see him mixing it up with his grappling in the bout. Now, and maybe he'll try and set up a KO. Maybe he'll get a sub too if it's there. But I wouldn't be surprised if Robert puts up a good fight, because he's decent. Robert, he's got that weird aura, I'd say. I mean, look, he may have lost to Io Portiera about, I think at this point, over 2 years ago in his debut, but I mean, Io was somewhat solid. And look, if you're finishing a vet like Brad Tavares, I will say it's not bad. That's a good start. But I do think this has potential to be fight of the night, maybe. Maybe it will be fight of the night, or maybe I'm just completely wrong on this. But yeah, I do have Cam winning this second or third round KO TKO. Now this is the real good fight. This is the fight. Tai Tuivasa versus Louis Sutherland. Yeah, Tai, he's washed. He's got some striking. He's 6-5 losing streak, about to be like 6-7 on some shit, you know. Yes, I did the hand motion. And yeah, he's got no grappling at all. His grappling is pretty bad. Yeah. His cardio is really bad. Here's the thing about this dude. This dude actually had somewhat good cardio, but ever since then it's been bad. And this dude has to cut weight. He has to cut weight to get down. Here's the thing about these heavyweight fighters that have to cut weight. Yeah, sure, they won't. Look, why would you do that to yourself? First of all, when you cut weight, it makes it easier to get KO'd, but since all fighters do it, it's not ridiculous. But in the heavyweight division, you'd at least hope that these guys would not cut weight. And guys like Tom Aspinall, guys like Cyril Gane, soon to be Alex Pereira, Francis Ngannou. But I mean, when you have to cut weight and you look like the Michelin Man, bro, and your cardio has been looking notoriously bad recently, it's like, what are you doing to yourself? But Louis, I mean, he's 0-2 UFC start. He's got somewhat good striking, but his grappling is, well, it's meh. This, honestly, Louis is basically a tune-up fight for Tai, but as you can see from here, I have Louis winning this. And yeah, this is one of the fights of the year. If you're having a really bad day, just put this on, and I don't know. Look, it hasn't even happened yet, so who knows? Maybe it could be good, but I honestly just I don't think one of these guys is necessarily better than the other, but Tai is unironically out of his prime at 33 years old, and yeah, Louis he'll win some way. As you can see, I have some way. Maybe I should underline every time I put this just for the emphasization, you know. Just to emphasize, but yeah. Oh my God, Shamil the male Dale Gaziev versus Brando Pereshik. Now the male Dale himself, he's been fraud checked by Dominican back in the cheese. I no posible papi. and the guy who looks like Derek Lewis, Jairzinho Rosenstrike. He's average everywhere, and he's just absolutely out of. I don't know why these heavyweights do it to himself. I'm about to go. See, this is why heavyweight looks so bad for so long. Is because the UFC signed these fat motherfuckers who gotta cut weight and just have no discipline. First of all, if you're like 6'1", 6 foot, maybe 6'2", and you're over the 265 limit, you have a problem, bro. There's no way you're eating that much food and, I don't know, just being that fucking fat. You might as well be on my 600-pound life with your shitty choices, man. But Brando Parisic, he's on a 2-5 winning streak. He's got good striking, mad grappling. His dash tank, this dude has never been to the third round in his career. He's been to the second round once. So his gas tank is questionable, I will say. But I do have Brando winning this. I mean, look, when Shamil goes against someone with good striking, their striking is somewhat competitive, good, he gets absolutely whooped. And now, as per Brando, I don't know about his grappling. Brando's grappling, I don't know much about it. But from what I saw, and have done research on, it's bearable. It's passable. But Brando does have some good aggression in his striking. He's not one of these guys who just stay at range, just like, let me throw one, like let me throw a jab out. Let me do the Macy Barber where I shadow box at range or some crap like that. He actually tries to go for the finish, which, yeah, I mean, I could see him pressuring Shamil against the fence, picking him off there. Now, like I did talk about the grappling a little bit earlier, but it can come into play. But Brando weighs in pretty close to the heavyweight limit himself, so I'll be honest. I'm praying for Shamil, this dude, the meal deal, the GOAT himself. I'm surprised I didn't even think about it while writing all this down. This does have potential to be a really bad fight because both these guys, I mean, we know Shamil has pretty bad cardio, but I don't know about Brando. I mean, maybe he's got good cardio, hopefully. But yeah, I do have Brando winning this second, third round, KO, TKO. I mean, I don't fucking know. And now we're getting into the good portion. Okay, so the reason why there's a weird cut earlier from the first bout to the rest of this video is because apparently this dude right here was supposed to fight Jack Jenkins, but Jack Jenkins put out. I didn't even know about this fight until I heard about this getting added to the card, because the UFC, because when I was watching that card last week, it was like, oh well, I ain't watching this shit. This is Apex Goy Slop right here. I'm not. The rest of you idiots can watch this. I'm not watching this, but yeah, apparently this dude was supposed to fight Jack Jenkins. Jack Jenkins pulled out, and Ollie Schmidt is making a short notice date. Okay, I mean, from his last fight, it isn't short notice, but I mean, replacing a fight on the week of the card, yeah, it's definitely not gonna be good. Now, Marwan Rahiki and Ollie Schmidt is the fight. Now, Marwan, he's got 100% finish rate, so, and let's see, let me try to math I actually don't know the math on this, but 7 of those finishes were by KO for TKO, so yeah, he's also undefeated, 8-0. He's got great all-around striking, obviously. The grappling, it is somewhat there, from what I can gather. Now, Ollie, this is a UFC debut. Alright striking, and while doing some research, he really loves the spinning bat fist from what I saw. And his grappling, yeah, I put a question mark because, well, I just don't know much about it. So, but yeah, I do have Marlon win this. I mean, this is a short notice debut for Ollie, so there's only so much he can do. Now, we have seen guys make their debuts on short notice, like Ilya Taporia against Easy Salal, where even though Ilya debuted on a week or two's notice, and he actually had COVID, which is crazy to think about when you look at that performance against Yusuf. But I do think that Marwan has the better striking, so, and Marwan's been in camp, so it's not ridiculous to see him winning. Now, as for the grappling, I don't know much about Ollie, but Marwan has showed up grappling, so I mean, if I had to say who had the better grappling, I guess I had to go with Marwan. Although I could have just abstained from talking about it. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I do have Marlon winning this. First, second round KO, TKO. And now for the oh no, this ain't the co-main. I forgot. Oops. But yeah, for Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg now. Tim Elliott, man, he's a like Lucas Tracy, Mr. Wobblestone, Cobblestone, knees Kamaru Usman. Come on, you know, like Lucas Tracy says, man, crafty vet. Tim Elliott, he's got great grappling. His striking is it's meh, but in that Kaya Sakura fight, when you watch that, he actually caught Kaya Sakura a bit because he was doing like some weird shit with his hands where he was like he was using like a weird version of a mummy guard, you know, just sticking his hands out, you know, just like rotating his wrists, his elbows, basically confusing the shit out of Kai, and you know, he won that fight. Now Steve, I honestly feel bad for Steve, man, because this dude, I think he only had, from if memory serves right, this dude had 2 fights in the UFC, 2-3 fights in the UFC after. Hold on, let me try to memorize this. Let me. I'm totally not pulling this up off the screen, you know. But yeah, this dude, he was on 3. He had 3 fights in the UFC. Debuted in the UFC, 3 fights, and then he gets called up on close to 2 months' notice to fight Pantoja. And look, in that fight, he honestly could have won that. Until the 5th round, where he decided to go for a takedown, which Pantoja reversed with his way better grappling, and yeah, he lost that via UD. Now, whether or not you want to argue he won that fight, it's up to y'all. But Erceg, after that, look, it may say he won his most recent fight, but he's arguably on a 4-fight losing streak, because that fight with Ode Osbourne was pretty bad, and you could argue he lost that fight. Now look, Steve, he's got a good submission game and great wrestling, but his striking is iffy, man. I mean, he has some power, which is weird to say, but his striking is iffy. But I do look. This is ridiculous. This might be ridiculous to say, but I think this might be Steve's most winnable, but also hardest matchup in a minute. Cause Tim, like Lucas Tracy says, man, crafty vet. He is a crafty vet. He's weird, man. Cause one minute you see, I mean, he's got, I don't know, it's just weird. But I can see Erceg using his somewhat better striking to keep Tim at range and mixing his grappling. A finish will. I don't see a finish happening though. It's gonna be hard to come by. So yeah, I do have Steve winning this by a unanimous decision. And for the next fight, Beneil Dariush versus Quillin, the minority killer, Sal killed. Now, Beneil, he's a crafty vet, man. Look, he may be 36 years old, but he is a crafty vet. He's 1-3 in his last 4, with all 3 of those coming by a finish. Charles Oliveira, Arman Sarukian, Benoit Saint-Denis. I mean, look, those aren't bad names to lose to. But with how Quillin Salkild has been looking lately, it's kind of, you kind of gotta ask the question: Is he on the level of these guys? Which we'll find out. Now Beneil, he's got great grappling. This dude actually has really good grappling. His striking is sneaky. He's got, you know, timing, precision. Timing beats power, man. Timing and precision, it beats power. But his chin has been looking questionable. I mean, when you're 1-4 in your last 4, 1-3 in your last 4, and all 3 of those losses have been by KO finish in the first round, yeah, I mean, you are looking a little chinny. And look, while he may have not gotten KO'd by Renato Money Moicano, I mean, look, Renato hasn't been known as a, you know, KO finisher. Now Quillin, minority killer, 5-fight winning streak, including his Contender Series bout. Great kickboxing, this great grappling. His wrestling is actually pretty solid. Solid jiu-jitsu. He's got jiu-jitsu, and this dude does have an underrated fight IQ. Cause look, in that fight against Nasrat Hasparas, hopefully I said his name right, but look, he set up that head kick very well. He targeted Nasrat's body, and set him up to get head kick KO'd. I mean, look, you can be trained to do that, but in a fight, that is actually quite challenging to do. It is challenging to do. And his grappling in that Yanu Ashmoose fight showed off that he can go the 3 rounds. Look, he may have not finished a guy who, let's be honest, is probably not UFC level. But when you go 8 for 23, it showed, and go to the 3rd round and win a unanimous decision, it shows that, one, you look, 8 and 23 is not a good number. I mean, when you took 23 takedowns and only get 8 of them, I mean, there's some questions there. But when you get half the fight's control time and you make it to the 3rd round and win a unanimous decision while also getting some striking in, some ground and pound, I do think that you showed off that, okay, you're clearly UFC level, man. And look, you could argue he should have finished Yano Hashimoto, but look, and also his decision win against Gage Young has aged really well. Gage Young has proven to be a good fighter. Going in that Thiago Moises fight, I believe he fought. I think so. Sometimes you confuse some of these Brazilians, man. But look, he's finished 3 of his opponents in the UFC. Ansel Jubilee, Mr. Do not redeem. I'm better than Khabib. And Jamie Malarkey, the guy. Poor Jamie Malarkey. Bro had to fight Volk early in his career and got finished by the Minority Killer. But yeah, in Quinlan, yeah, like he does have an underrated fight IQ. His fight IQ is there. And with that being said, I do have Quinlan winning this, because with how Beneil has been looking in his past few performances, I think that Quinlan's younger age and aggression will just help him go through Beneil. And I can see Quinlan outstriking Beneil with his longer frame and arguably superior striking. And with him doing that at range, I can see him using in some feints, setting up the takedowns, which honestly could. This fight has potential to show off some good grappling on both sides. But that does come at a cost, because I can see him struggle with the grappling due to Beneil. I mean, look, Beneil may be 36 and 1-3 in his last 4, but he's still got the good grappling. And so, with that being said, I do think a finish will be hard to come by. And I do have Quinlan winning this by unanimous decision. Now, for the main event. Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. Jack, former champ. This dude was, and before he got the belt, this dude was on a 16 fight win streak overall, not including his UFC run, you know. So yeah, really good. And look, Jack, he's up there with the top boxers in the UFC. Like, if we're talking about boxing, he's up there with Max and Ilya, which is not ridiculous to say that. It's not ridiculous to say that. And he's got sneaky jiu-jitsu, because look, when you train with Craig Jones, you're going to have that good jiu-jitsu no matter what. Craig Jones is one of his main jiu-jitsu coaches. Craig Jones, obviously, a really creative jiu-jitsu guy. And look, and I mean, yeah, Jack, he's overall a good MMA fighter. Obviously, he prefers the boxing when it comes to his fights, but yeah. And Carlos Prates, great Muay Thai. Oh, sorry, I don't know what the hell's going on with me, but great Muay Thai. He's got great knees, great elbows. I mean, he's pure Muay Thai fighter. Now, his grappling is obviously questionable. If you watch that Ian Gary fight, I mean, yeah, it didn't look great. He does have crazy KO power, though. His KO power, look, it's because of his long, lanky build. You see, when you're long and lanky and just built long and lanky, man, you will have that KO power. And look, his gas tank is questionable, as we saw in that Ian Gary fight. It's questionable gas tank, really questionable gas tank. But Ian Gary is just a really weird matchup, because Ian Gary does have a fight IQ. As much as some of us don't like Ian Gary for reasons that vary, Ian is a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's good all around. and he does have an underrated fight IQ and ability to game plan. And he showed that against Carlos because he kept Carlos at range. He he worked on his body to stifle his gas tank, and he mixed in the grappling to basically screw Carlos with his cardio. And he went, and look, even though Ian was almost about to get finished in the 5th round by Carlos, he didn't. He didn't. Look, there may be that image of him crawling on the ground, but in the end, he did win that fight because of the first 4 rounds. Now, look, Carlos' grappling does look a little, it has looked a little, questionable. Because in that Leon Edwards fight, Leon did take his back, and Jeff, he did clinch him against the wall until, well, Carlos was like, hey, don't do that, pussy. And, well, we all know what happened to Jeff. And if I had to choose a winner for this fight, I would have to go with Carlos. Because, look, right off the bat, I will say that a KO will be hard to come by. Because, look, JDM may have not fought a guy that's got power or could KO you. But, look. But in that Bilal fight, he did just take all his punches, and he didn't get KO'd. Now, look, is Bilal the type of guy to KO you? Well, I mean, unless your name is Sean Brady, then no. But, I mean, when you take that many punches, I do think you've at least got somewhat of a chin. And I just don't see a KO happening, especially early for Carlos Prates. Because, yeah. Now, how I see Carlos winning this is using his long, lanky build to just keep Jack at bay, keep him at range, outstriking him, and slowly study his tendencies, see what Jack can do. Now, I will say Jack does have a sneaky fight IQ. It's there, but when you watch that Bilal fight and see how he dealt with Bilal's grappling, you saw that. Now, obviously, grappling probably won't come into play for this unless it's JDM trying to initiate the grappling. But JDM did pretty much keep Bilal on his toes. He feinted the knee. He worked. He jabbed out. He kept throwing some uppercuts just to confuse Bilal, just to keep Bilal like, oh shoot, if I go in and he uppercuts me at the right time, he's gonna put my lights out. So Jack he literally initiated some grappling himself just to confuse Bilal, just to tire him out. So Jack does have a decent corner and underrated fight IQ. Now look, in the Islam fight, he did honestly get absolutely out-grappled, but like I said, grappling won't come into this fight unless it's Jack initiating it. But genuinely, Islam is just built different, unironically speaking. And look, Jack has let himself be okay with getting punched when he is going up against someone who's probably not good at striking, but also someone like a Bilal, who's notoriously just has no KO power. But that is going to be, if he comes in with that kind of mindset for this fight, that will go against him, because we all know Carlos just has that weird power. Now, I will say, KOing a guy like Jeff Neal or Leon has got on to, I mean, I think it's, and Neil Magny, I will say these wins have aged, well, not so good. Absolutely not good. But look, at least he's KOing these guys who are good. And I mean, yeah, I just don't think Carlos will get a finish. Now, is it impossible? No, it's more like 50-50. But I do have Carlos in the end winning this by unanimous decision. And I mean, it's just really, I mean, I do want to think about this more, but I don't think he'll get a KO. It's just going to be a lot more challenging when you're going against a guy like Jack. And that's all I really got to say. This card is actually quite solid. And this card, it's quite solid actually. It's got names on here that you will likely know. It's got some guys that, I mean, this is kind of top heavy, but that's the thing though. When you're doing fight nights like this, I hope it is kind of top heavy and you mix in some guys that you would hope to know. I mean, the top 3 fights on this card are ranked fighters, or guys that are somewhat hyped, like Berlin, who's fighting a ranked guy like Benil. And even with guys like Ty and Shamil being the on the main card. At least you know who they are. You know who they are. For good or bad reasons. And, yeah, I mean, that's all I really gotta say, y'all. You know, thanks for watching. If you made this far to the video, really appreciate like and subscribe to all that YouTube stuff. And just praying that everybody out there is safe. And just, if you're doing something, I hope that you're happy doing it. As long as it ain't hurt nobody. And that's all I really gotta say, y'all. Peace.